Okay, so I wanted to share with you guys a video I just saw, and it was regarding Calgary real estate. And I was quite surprised that it was coming from Ontario, basically an investor that is investing across Canada. So I thought you might be interested in this because it confirms what I've been saying about the Calgary real estate market and why it might defy what's happening in Canada when you're seeing Canadian reports.
So something just happened in the rental market in Calgary that I found absolutely shocking. Let's take a look. So the results are in. According to Zumper, rental prices increased for one bedrooms 5.8% from July to August of this year. That's insane. One bedrooms are up over 28% year over year. They're now renting for $1,450 on average. Two bedrooms are up almost 25%. They're renting for over $1,700. Now, this was the largest increase of any of the 24 Canadian cities that are being monitored by Zumper. But even with these increases, Calgary still ranks as the 15th most expensive city in Calgary, while it's the fourth largest in the country. If Calgary rent was priced according to the size, then one bedrooms would be renting for $2,000 a month. Two bedrooms would be renting for over $2,500 a month. That shows you how undervalued Calgary real estate rental prices are. So, why is this happening? Why is it undervalued? Well, Calgary had been in a recession from 2015 up to about 2020 due to the previous collapse in oil prices. During that time, there were huge layoffs in the oil field. People were leaving the city in droves, which caused property prices and rents to decrease. Now, in 2020, the economy really stabilized, and huge numbers of well-paying IT jobs started to flood into the city. This is bringing huge amounts of people back to Calgary. And now, more and more people are moving to Calgary from all over Canada. In fact, Alberta was the number one interprovincial destination within Canada.
Okay, so I can confirm this. On my websites, I'm getting so many leads from Ontario and BC, and what they're all saying is the same thing. It's getting too expensive. Some of them are renters, and some of them are actually investors that really flooded our market at the beginning of this year, but they still see that it's undervalued and underpriced.
Recently, there's also been an increase of international immigration as well. Borders opening up. This has opened up huge opportunities available that were inaccessible due to the COVID restrictions. And now that those are easing, it's opening up. And rising interest rates are making purchasing homes less affordable. This is forcing many of those potential buyers into renting instead or staying as renters. Now, with this increased demand, the market has seen a decrease of available rental properties of almost 44%. Due in large part to that increased demand, the average days on market for rental properties is now only 28 days. This is down over 50% from this time last year, and it relates to a very tight rental market. Now, Calgary is still incredibly discounted. I'm still shocked at how undervalued Calgary is from both a price and rental perspective. Both should be much higher, and I believe this is going to be corrected over the next 5 years. Calgary is benefiting hugely from oil and gas prices, mainly due to the conflict in Ukraine, but also underinvestment for the last 10 years. The exploding tech sector in the city is adding many new high-paying jobs. I think large urban environments are going to recapture the populations that they lost during COVID, plus more. And remote work possibilities mean people are going to be moving to low-cost cities because they can, and especially ones that offer incredible living standards like Calgary does. But perhaps the most important factor now is that when new Canadian immigrants land in large cities like the GTA, Vancouver, Montreal, the high property prices there, it's going to be mind-blowing. They're going to push them into lower cost cities like Calgary. Would you buy a one bedroom without parking for over $700,000 in downtown Toronto when you can buy a detached house in Calgary with a legal basement unit for that exact same price? The decision is going to be simple for a lot of people. So, now is the time to be investing in Calgary. You're able to lock in low purchase prices today. Condos in Calgary have still not hit record highs since 2014. Let that sink in for a minute. You're also able to leverage your money 10 to 1 in many cases. You're only giving a small deposit, 10% very often, but you're getting appreciation on the full purchase price. And with pre-construction, you delay closing for several years. No need to worry about tenants or worrying about getting a mortgage now or what's happening with interest rates. That's
And in the Calgary market, as far as the apartment condo market, there's been actually an oversupply of property, which means that the property prices aren't so bad as of yet. So all of the gains that we saw earlier this year were mainly in single family detached homes. And the condo market has kind of remained behind. Why? Because there's been an oversupply. Now, when he attests to saying, buy pre-construction, well, I mean, there's a lot of people who bought pre-construction, even in Calgary, who have had some trouble with it. And the reason mostly is because there was condos put in say East Village, for example, that had no parking. And they were like, 300, 350,000 with no parking. They turned them mostly into Airbnb. And of course, Airbnb has become fairly popular. But I would say that those types of condos probably are not the type ones that you're looking at. I'm seeing the new inventory coming on the market is smaller and smaller in square footage. Although it's a nice, pretty building, some of the buildings that are out there are closer to 1,000 square feet with two bedrooms, a little bit better and a little bit more safe. Except, condo fees are definitely a factor. But it's interesting to me to see what the observations are from a person from, say, Ontario. And I would say that people that are in Vancouver are seeing the same thing out here. So when people tell me that the market's overblown in Calgary, I say, okay, so let me ask you this. So what is the gains in Ontario from the Ontario residents? They look at us and say, oh wow, the market only went up 15% this year. A $500,000 home only went a little bit over six. And of course, in 2006, I saw the average sale price go from 225 to 460 in that single year. So when people tell me it can't keep going up, I go, well, maybe it can. And of course, the factors are always different, but this is a different kind of market we're in. That's for sure.
going to be 4 or 5 years from now. And rents are going to continue to increase significantly. This is going to offset the extra interest rate increases that you might be paid. Now, I think interest rates are inevitably going to come down. And this means that your properties are going to be massively cash flow positive when that happens.
So for all the people that are saying, I'm waiting for better conditions before I buy. I don't want to buy anything until I see the interest rates come down or the prices come down. I say, gee, uh, right now is probably the better time because as soon as they drop those interest rates, then the property values are going to fly up again, of course, because they have to, right? So we always do this in like banks always, our Canadian system always does this. They put the brakes on for a little while. And when they put the brakes on, then of course we have a situation where it's very difficult for buyers to buy. And of course, the buyers are always looking for the most, best conditions from the buy. Low interest rates, lots of incentives, but all those incentives boost the price. So just when everybody kind of, or a lot of people tend to not buy, that's when you should be buying. That's when the time is to think about it. Now, a lot of people are waiting for the crash. They're thinking that it's all going to crash. Well, there is areas that are going to crash, and I think it's going to be Ontario, and I think that's why these guys are talking like this. They're talking like this because they know the interest rates are high, so they're going to escape from Vancouver and Ontario with their investments, and they're going to pump them into Calgary because they know that what are they going to do? Lose $200,000 or $300,000 on $1 million property when the market drops like 20 to 30%? Or are they going to put it into Calgary and boost the market here and take the next step? And so for those of you who are thinking of waiting to buy a single family home or a condo, if you can buy now and if you buy anything in this particular market, whether it's a single family home or whatever, maybe it's not the house and maybe it's not your dream house. Maybe it's not the one that you really wanted, but you know what, in 3 to 4 years, 5 years, 10 years time, you may look back and say, oh, wow, I didn't realize that the market was continued to grow. Of course, none of us that were in the market of 2005 thought 2006 was going to happen. Interest rates were low. The oil and gas sector was bad. The rental market was bad in 2005. And then in 2006, the market doubled. Nobody predicted that. Matter of fact, we all thought, oh my, it's not very good. It hadn't been good for the last 3 years.
So Calgary's a once in a lifetime opportunity that is quickly closing. If you're thinking about investing in real estate, this is the perfect time to be doing it.
So interesting. Hey, so these are guys that are out in Ontario, and he's associated with an agent in Ontario. I'm sure that they're doing some referrals out here in Calgary to work their business out here. But you've got my sense of it. I think that everybody that has owning any kind of property out in Ontario and Vancouver, they're looking for an escape. That's for sure.